Hello everybody and welcome to Absurd Hypotheticals, the show where we overthink dumb questions so you don't have to. I'm your host Marcus Lehner, and I'm joined here today by Chris Yee and Ben Storms. Say hi, guys.
Hey everyone, I'm Chris Yee.
Hey, I'm Ben Storms.
How you guys doing today?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah, I'm good. Can't complain.
Excited for this first episode.
Yeah, it's going to be good, but before we get started, I came across something today, and Ben, you showed this to me, and I kind of just have to get it off my chest because this is absolutely ridiculous. So you know how they have 5-hour energy drinks?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's the opposite. They have a 5-hour relaxation drink.
I would like to point out that technically the one I showed you, I believe, is actually a 4 to 6 hour relaxation drink, which is a little broad to me.
Yeah, they haven't done the math out on exactly how much relaxation you get. It's kind of hard to tell. Like, they give the test subjects the timer, but they just get so relaxed they don't even know how to hit it.
Yeah, I was out for like 4, maybe 6 hours.
But what gets me is I don't know who this product's for. Like, the thing is, I think people in the market for like an energy drink are the people that are like struggling to get through the day. I can't imagine a situation where I come back from work and I'm like, man, I really need to do something to relax besides just collapsing on my couch and starting up Netflix.
Isn't like the relaxation drink just like alcohol? Isn't that what that's for?
So there's a series of active ingredients. I've seen cannabis ones, which are slightly more legitimate. Okay. They have listed botanicals, including chamomile, passion flower, and valerian. The Relax Zen Day had significant levels of a compound that indicated the presence of passion flower extract.
Passion flower extract.
So I think we need to get a bottle of one of these and test it out.
So, yeah.
Yes.
But also, they have a branding problem because they make them look exactly like energy drinks. For example, this relaxation drink is called Relax Drank Extreme Relaxation.
Wait, hold on. I just need to clarify. That was Relax Drank Extreme?
Yes. Drank with an A in the middle.
Okay, all right.
It's got 220 calories and 54 grams of sugar.
How? How does that help you relax?
But you know, they must work. Like, people say they have a relaxation effect.
Yeah, does it have a good rating?
No, there's no ratings. I don't think enough people drink this to actually leave reviews. There have been complaints, though. Children have, some reports have been complained of vomiting, headache, nausea, chills, and really the important one, fatigue.
I was going to say none of those relax me, but honestly, fatigue is the thing that relaxes me the most, so, I mean...
Yeah, it's like, man, guys, I drank this relaxation product, and I just feel so tired. What the hell happened? This must be some kind of reaction. But I think I got that off my chest, so we should probably start what we're actually doing here, which is answering dumb hypothetical questions.
Yes.
Just so you guys know, at home, we all have gotten these questions ahead of time, and we've taken about a week to prepare our well-thought-out answers. And I'm going to jump right into our first question, which is, what if you grew 1 inch taller every month for the rest of your life? Just to clarify, this is going to be starting at, I'm 26 right now, and I'm 6 feet tall. We're going to all use that for our baseline. So the math works out nice. Every year I get about a foot taller, and every month I get an inch taller.
So it's just your age minus 20.
Yeah. It works well.
Is your height. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, and we said that you won't have any, people who get very tall in real life have lots of back problems and foot problems. We're going to kind of ignore that because then that's just the entirety of the answer for everyone because that's going to just get hairy real fast.
Oh yeah, no health problems associated with this. You just get bigger like a movie giant.
Perfect. Like a movie giant.
Yeah. Like a movie giant.
Like the Iron Giant, but fleshy.
I mulled this one over a bit, and going through the answer, I just thought this one sucks. Like, this is a very bad thing.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be a good thing.
It gets,
I don't know why you did.
It gets bad faster than I expected it to be fair. I agree with Marcus, yeah.
Yeah, I split this up in a couple time frames, where the first few years we were kind of still in the normal range. I'm calling that the early years, between 6 and 9 feet tall, which is only 3 years. So at 29, you're already having problems. And you enter what I call the inconvenient times. So you're in there for a while, and I'll get to what these imply. So you're in that until you're about 45, and then you start maxing out. I think once you're like 45 and you're about 25 feet tall, it really doesn't matter how much taller you get anymore.
Yeah, at that point, tall is tall.
You're
it's
just
like
fucking huge.
It's like when you're wet, you're wet.
Right.
Yeah, you're just tall now. That's just the only adjective for you.
When you're taller than most buildings, your options are basically the same from that point forward.
So the real question is, I think, is how you make the most out of your first couple years. Because this is your setup for when you just become basically unemployable, I think. You don't fit into offices. You can't do a lot of things. So I was thinking, who cares about tall people. And I think the immediate obvious answer, and the people you really have by the balls, is the Guinness Book of World Records. So, on your 28th birthday, once you hit 8'2", you're beating out Sultan Kosin, currently the world's tallest living man at 8'2". This is where you have to really get Guinness World Records over and explain to them that you are going to continue to grow. This is not a one-time thing. Because what's going to happen going forward is you're going to break the tallest living man record. There's a lot of other records you're going to beat. You're going to beat another couple records that Sultan Kosin has. He has biggest hands, largest feet.
I think those records are kind of cheating at that point.
Right, but they're in the book, and the Guinness Book of World Records is going to get kind of, you're going to be about half of it.
Yeah, I mean, you can just choose a body part, right?
Yeah, you can choose any body part, like largest gait.
Technically, at every point in time, aren't you basically just constantly breaking records if you're continuously growing too? So like that's going to cost them like a lot on printing.
Right. So what you pretty much have like a guarantee thing. Like you can guarantee them like probably like 15 new records, like at least like every month. So you really got to get this sponsorship with Guinness Book of World Records because they're pretty much the only people going to pay you to just be a big old boy.
But at some point, you're going to lose your appeal, right? If you just keep on getting printed in the Guinness Book over and over again.
Right. So that's kind of how I broke this down. So I think your world record time is in your inconvenient times when you're between 10 and 25 feet tall. So you basically have this world records guy following you around, and you're kind of always going to get a little wacky. You're no longer particularly mobile. You don't really fit into normal buildings. You can't get on a train or like a car. You kind of have to do it like Cars movie style, where you have a tractor trailer that you like hang out in the back end and like that drives you around.
But also you'll have super long legs, so you don't really need a car, right? Like people,
I think that's only true once you're about like. There's a point where that's still not true, where you're tall enough that you can't actually be transported by most means of transport, but you can't just like stride everywhere yet.
Yeah, like even if you're 15 feet tall, like you're maybe like 4 or 5 times faster than a regular person.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough. You're going to have a tough time getting around. So you're going to need this convoy with you, and I think you're just going to be like hanging out primarily like for sleeping. Like you're going to hang out primarily like warehouses, like boatyard type things. No more hotels for you, unless I guess some lobbies are pretty big.
Are you just hold on, warehouses? Are you just breaking into warehouses?
I think you're gonna have to rent them out. Like
okay, because I don't know how you subtly get into a warehouse when you're 15 feet tall.
There's one thing I think regarding sleeping. There's one important note I put here. You're gonna have to make a stop in Nashua, New Hampshire.
Why? That's very random.
Because a few years back, the company Yogibo presented a 211-foot beanbag chair.
Ooh,
it's perfect.
You have to
a local
do that.
establishment. So you basically have to grab this as your one and only bed that's going to be made for you.
That's like the one requirement.
This company would definitely sponsor you, right? To just like hang out in their beanbag chair.
Oh yeah. And this is my segue here. So you've got this world record thing. This is your shtick for like about 10, 15 years. After a certain point, nobody cares. Like you have your own section in the Guinness Book of World Records. It's like all the 30 records that you've broken. Like, you're going to have the highest dunk. You could have the longest frisbee throw. You're going to be real strong. All, like, heaviest aircraft pulled. You're going to be able to pull any aircraft.
It's weirdly specific.
I guess you'd be useful in, like, the construction world, right?
You are a crane.
Yeah.
Right. So I think right around, when you're about 46 years old, 25 to 40 feet, I think you kind of switch gears. I think the easiest thing for you to do is to become an internet sensation. So you already have all these records. Like, you have the pedigree. And you're just going to be fucking interesting to watch. Like, if you run a blog, everyone's going to tune in to see what the giant guy's doing.
Yeah, you can have, like, a live feed 24 hours.
Oh, yeah. And I think what my shtick would be is I think you could go around the Midwest because, one, it's pretty warm. You don't want to have to pay to, like, heat, like, a warehouse or anything. That shit gets expensive very quickly. And you're going to go around the Midwest and you're going to start collecting all those giant novelty items. Like in the world's largest chair. Like, you're just going to go sit in it and take a picture, and it's going to be, like, 1 million likes.
That's really good.
And this is really how you're going to support yourself.
So one thing on that front that I actually, because I thought about some of these issues, you're going to have someone else who actually writes the blog and takes the picture and everything, because you will not be able to operate any electronics.
That is a good point.
Yes.
You have very large hands.
You're going to need a bit of a crew that you're going to gather over time.
It doesn't really need to be a big crew, right? Just someone to
There's a few people
camera.
you're going to need. You're going to need your social media manager. I think that's going to be a full-time
That's important.
job. Oh,
yeah.
You're bringing your Guinness World Record guy who's going to come with you and, verify all your records. You're going to need a tailor. No one is making clothes in your size. The big and tall stops at, regular big and regular tall.
I mean, you could just go nude.
No.
That's going to be problematic for your media.
Ain't no one want to see that.
Ain't nobody wants that. And you're just going to need a butler to, like, do your errands and, like, go to stores. So I think by the time you get to this point in your life, like around 60 is when you're about 40 feet tall. And you run into one more problem, actually two more problems at this age. The first problem is your weight. So I've done the math out, assuming you've grown proportionally, like you get 1 inch wider as you get, 1 inch taller. And by the time you are 40 feet tall, you are going to be 40,000 pounds. That's how much you're going to weigh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the worrying part about that number in particular is that the federal bridge design standard for a fully loaded truck that they use to design all these bridges and roads and all these good things is also 40,000 pounds.
Got it.
So is there like any structure at all that would be able to support you?
So you can go like on the ground. You're not going to go onto any buildings or anything. I think you're just that's just out of the question.
Yeah.
Most roads should be fine. Like a good road I think will hold you, but like bridges are kind of out, and really rivers are still too big to wade across. Like you're not going to get across the Mississippi even if you're like 40 feet tall. It's still just like a mile wide.
So that's the point where you pick a side of the country to live in, and that's just where you stay.
Again, I recommend the South. You're going to spend a lot of time outside.
Yeah.
Like, do you think wherever you walk, you'll leave like craters and stuff? Do you think you're that heavy?
You're definitely big footprints. You are the weight of a big pickup truck, is what it is.
Yeah, you're going to leave a divot.
In addition to your weight, you have to maintain that weight. That's going to require food. I found online the Harris-Benedict equation for how many calories you need based on your weight in pounds, your height in inches, and your age in years.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
So, doing out the math, and I did this for every single year, but highlighting this age 40 year, you are going to need a daily intake of 415,000 calories.
This seems...
assuming an average level of activity.
This seems unsustainable.
That's going to cost a lot of money.
Like, you're just like chucking corn oil at this point, right? Like...
So yeah, you might ask, well, how much does it cost each day to feed yourself? You gotta kind of go by the best calorie per dollar that you're gonna get. Luckily, I've done that math out too. So if you get a good old Big Mac, which I thought was a pretty good place to start for high calorie density per dollar.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to need 738 Big Macs each day. And that's going to come out to $2,600 per day on food.
I mean, you could have like a partnership with McDonald's then.
You know, you would think you could get that partnership pretty easy, but you would not hold the Guinness Book of World Records for most Big Macs eaten.
Why? Well, what is the record?
How is that possible?
Yeah.
Donald A. Gorska, if that's how you pronounce that, holds the record for most Big Macs eaten. He has eaten 26,000 Big Macs in his lifetime.
What?
That's...
How old is he?
How dead is he?
He's like... he's like in his 40s, I think it was. Like, he just eats Big Macs all day, every day. So, Big Macs, not such a great option. Pretty expensive. So I went, like, to the top of the food chain, like, the most calories per dollar, and it turned out to be pasta and rice.
That makes sense.
You could eat 349 boxes of pasta, and it only costs you about $500 a day. Or you could eat 41 20-pound bags of rice and get away with only $340 a day.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Considering you're basically just a giant celebrity.
Toss some beans in there, too. Just have a bunch of rice and beans.
Now, at this point, how much do you think you're making on your your video blogs and stuff?
I think you're absolutely one of a kind. I think you will get through sponsorships and things like the best. Like, just, you'll sustain this.
Do you think money is a concern? Are you comfortable?
I think you have to keep doing things you're not super happy with. Like, you might have to do, like, some bad commercials or wearing a t-shirt is basically a giant billboard. Like, you can sell that space.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That's a good point. It's probably bigger than a billboard.
You could do an acting gig in, like, a sci-fi show, like Game of Thrones. I'm sure we'd be happy to have you.
Save on CG costs.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
do a lot of movies.
But I think that's pretty much, I think you can do it. Once you get, like, real tall, you're already, like, 65, 70, like, you're retirement age. You're just gonna chill around for a bit. And, yeah, that's my take on it, guys.
Sounds like a pretty good life.
As far as these things go.
As far as this question can go.
What were you thinking, Chris? Let's have you go next.
Okay, so for my answer, I did a lot of similar stuff to you, actually. I had the early years as well, where life is basically just the same. It's a little inconvenient, you're a little taller, and that was from age 26 to 29.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you get a few advantages from being tall, just like being able to reach stuff and stuff like that. But it's mostly going to be just annoying.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
After you get past those early years, I also want the world record route.
Yes!
But I found a different person than you. You said it was like 8'2".
Mm-hmm.
I found 8'11". Robert Pershing Wadlow.
Yeah,
So I think he's like of all time. Probably. Yep. And your guy is the alive guy.
Current, yeah.
Yeah, Sultan Kosten is the tallest living man. I mean, funnily, in our scenario, they're only 9 months apart.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. So yeah.
You're going to burn through records pretty fast.
So you'd beat it at age 29. And through that, you'd be able to get a bunch of sponsorships. I was thinking like Nike, Big and Tall stores. I don't know that Yogibo thing you were talking about, the beanbag share.
The big beanbag share.
Yeah, you could probably find a bunch of stuff like that. And basically, in that range of your lifetime, you'd make all of your money. I think you'd be able to make a good living just based on that. And if you're smart with your money, you can build up a good savings.
Right.
If you like invest in stuff like that.
Yeah, you gotta find an investment banker that can read all the tiny words for you so you know.
Well, the thing is, because this early part of your life, that's like the main part where you're going to be making all your money, and then the rest of it, you're not really going to be making any money. So you got to plan ahead.
Right.
All right. Tell me about. Assuming you have money, tell me about the rest of your life.
Okay, so after the world record thing kind of fizzles out, eventually you're not going to be able to live in your house anymore. I assumed the best place to go after that would be a zoo, right? Because zoos deal with like large animals, right? They have like elephants and stuff. I think the largest elephant is like 13 feet high.
Okay.
You could last there for a while. I was thinking
your college dorm.
Yeah, I was thinking you could go past 13 feet for a while. Like they can probably sustain you for at least until like 20 feet.
So the question is, when you're at this zoo, are you an exhibit?
Yeah, I was actually wondering that too.
Yeah, you're going to have a partnership with the zoo because they're not just going to take you in and like feed you and stuff for nothing. But
they're going to need somewhere to put those elephants too.
Yeah, if you're an exhibit, then they'll feed you, they'll provide housing, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So you'll just sit there. I don't know, you'll probably get bored.
You just have like a large TV and a couch and just like...
I guess
it's
so,
like
yeah.
Your exhibit's just like the apartment from Friends, and you just like hang out there.
You can like pose for people if they want to take pictures.
Honestly, you'd be more interesting than just standing around like a fucking elephant does.
That's true.
Yeah, so I would probably stay at the zoo for a good chunk of my life. Probably the majority of my life, actually. I think eventually they wouldn't be able to sustain you, though, right? Because of the whole food thing that Marcus mentioned.
Yeah, you can't just go through, you start eating the elephants in the pen next door. That's what's going to start happening.
And I was going to ask if humans can eat like elephant food, but I feel that's probably not true.
I don't think so. I mean, Marcus did all the calculations for all the food stuff. But I figured at some point in your life, researchers are going to want to research on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, maybe they'll find like a growth hormone or something and they'll be able to grow food.
To feed you.
Yeah, to feed you. And it'll be super weird, but it'll work.
I did have a small note of good things to do in case, like, you're kind of feeling bad about your life and you want to feel good about your giant, horrendous body.
What do you mean?
What do you mean to feel bad about my horrendous body?
Yeah, be proud of it.
But you can donate blood. Like, you could probably just, like, fuel one blood bank by yourself. Because if you weigh, I'm just going by mass here, if you weigh 150 pounds at 26 and you weigh 40,000 pounds, then you're like the equivalent blood donor of like 300 people. That's not nothing.
It's not bad.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
So eventually the zoo wouldn't be able to sustain you and that you'd probably leave the zoo. But you wouldn't be able to live with all the other people because you'd just destroy the city probably.
Okay.
So I would try to work something out with the government where they could like ship me off to my own private island or something.
Oh, you want to live that King Kong life.
Yeah.
That's appealing.
King Kong seems like he has a pretty good life.
Yeah.
If this isn't real, what you're saying, could you go to your own private island and you are basically a destination resort now?
Yes, that's where I was going to go.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Or not necessarily a destination resort. I'm basically just another attraction. So like helicopter tours can come look at me. Cruise lines, I can make deals with cruise lines. I'm not going to actually let them onto the island because I might like accidentally kill them and crush them.
Right.
I don't want like liability issues. But they can like stay on the shore and look at me from a distance and I can wave at them.
Just make sure there's like a second island like right across from your island they can stay on and just see you because you're giant.
Yeah. That's actually a good point. I could try to find
an archipelago
2 islands next to each other.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned stepping on people because I did the math on that one quick.
You're all about the math, Marcus.
I did the math real quick. So I think myself as a person, I worry about stepping on things that are like 4 inches tall or smaller. I think anything bigger than that, I'm gonna see and not step on. I'm 72 inches tall right now, so that's 1/18 of my height. Assuming, like, the small child running around is about 3 feet tall. Like, that's the minimum they gotta worry about. You don't have to start worrying about stepping on people until you're about 54 feet tall. So you're like 74 already.
Well, your eyesight might go a little bit before that, so that ratio could change.
You're going to be really far from everyone all the time. You won't be able to see them.
Like I said, it's all proportional. I imagine like a 4-inch thing is, if it was a person, I wouldn't step on it. I'd like to believe that. But yes, the eyesight is
The eyesight is a concern. Actually, as someone who uses contact lenses and would be blind without my contact lenses or glasses, I don't know how you deal with that.
Yeah, same.
I don't know if there's someone equipped to make, like, 3-foot wide contact lenses.
Yeah, there is. NASA.
Boom. Done. Bring that Hubble down here. Put it in my face.
Just pull the Hubble out of orbit and put it, and just take it and be like, I need another one.
This is mine now. Good monocle, guys.
Yeah, so basically, the rest of my plan is just to stay on that island and die there.
Which, quickly speaking, not to get morbid, I was thinking about this. I have no idea what you do when you die, because I don't think
I mean, that's not your problem. Well, it's someone else's problem.
I guess that's true. I guess that's the best way to think of it, right?
I saw someone had posted online today about, there was a bomb technician, and they're like, doesn't the stress get to you? And they're like, well, I look at it this way. Either I succeed, or it's suddenly not my problem.
Okay, so that was my answer.
I think that's a little bit more depressing than my life, where you make yourself an internet sensation. I think I would not like.
I think mine's more practical than yours.
I like the island idea. The island's good.
I do like the island. Well, let's see what Ben's got.
So for mine, I came to the same realization you guys both did, that later in life, things get pretty much just impossible to deal with. Like, yes, you're going to need a lot of money, and you're not going to have a huge window in which you can get money, because, there's just not much you can do. But there is conveniently one career path that makes you a lot of money, and where being tall is rewarded very well. And I'm, of course, talking about playing basketball.
Oh my god.
You might be saying this seems like a kind of obvious way to go, and in a way it is, but it also gets way dumber, way faster than you expect it does. So
I'm picturing Space Jam.
All right, so I'm gonna hop over when you're like 9 feet tall, because
it's actually so I actually have a little bit of setup here in order to maximize your career earnings. That's what we're trying to do here, because basically I'm not going to go into like the middle age portion, because I feel like you guys kind of covered that pretty well. I like both those plans; they're both good, but they are going to require some good funding. Our goal here is to maximize that funding. So, your first step, thing I learned in the process of doing this research: did you know that yes, you, person listening to this podcast, yes, you, fellow co-hosts, you could apply to be in the NBA draft today, right now. All you have to do...
Oh my god, when's the deadline?
You can literally, actually, the deadline is 60 days before the draft. I can't remember when it is, so don't ask me. But as long as you just have to send a letter to the league and say, hey, I want to declare for the draft, they will send you a form, you fill it out, boom, you're in. That's it.
Is one of the boxes height?
Probably. I mean, yeah, there's all sorts of probably medical stuff, things like that. But the important thing here is that if you don't ever actually go through a draft, you can only be signed to a rookie contract where you'll make less money. But if you just sign up for the draft as some 6-foot-tall guy who hasn't really played basketball ever, you will not get drafted, so there's no concern about that. But now you can get signed to an actual contract. So you do that immediately as soon as you realize this is happening.
Okay.
So then, basically, that first year, where you're 26 and you're 6 feet, you're between 6 and 7 feet tall, you just learn to play basketball. It's not going to matter that much, but it's going to help a little bit, at least at first, just to get actually on a team when you're still a relatively human height.
Learning the rules is probably important, especially the out of bounds rules. I don't know if basketball has offsides, because I know nothing about the orange ball sport, but
there are I think even with very limited knowledge of the rules, there's very little you would actually have to know once you're 10 feet tall. So basically, you will be able to sign on with some minor league team when you're 7 feet tall, because if you're 7 feet tall, you can get a job playing basketball, just no matter what. The tallest player in the NBA right now, or the tallest player in the NBA ever, is 7'7". When you're 8 feet tall, you will definitely be able to get an NBA contract, because you are just a game changer at that point, even if you don't really know how to play basketball that well. I think once you're 9 feet tall, definitely once you're 10 feet tall, I'm pretty sure you just break basketball. I don't think basketball works anymore when you are playing basketball. I think
I broke it, guys.
You actually destroy the game of basketball.
You are literally the real life Monstars.
Yeah, so the rim is 10 feet up. So when you're on offense, you just stand by the rim and they just throw the ball about 15 feet in the air. You pluck it up with your giant arms and just put it in the basket. That's all you have to do. You don't have to shoot. You just put it in there. No one can do anything. You're too tall.
You just stand there.
When you're on defense, it's gonna be tricky, because obviously people can get around you, but people can dunk, but if they're not dunking, you can block their shot. Literally always.
Are there rules in basketball about just putting your hand over the rim?
That you can't do. That is goaltending. Basically, you can't touch the ball once it started going down towards the hoop, so as long as it's still going up, you can touch it. So I looked up. On the average 3-point shot, it's about 15 and 3/4 feet in the air. So I think once you're about 12 feet tall, you can actually block 3-point shots. And at that point, basketball just doesn't work.
That seems pretty good. Pretty good strategy.
And eventually you can just like reach over, like you can stand behind the 3-point line, just reach over and do it.
Right. Yeah. It's just like I think that basically when you're playing, your team can't lose. I'm pretty sure.
I want to reiterate, you are now a Monstar. What do you do when Michael Jordan and his band of Looney Tunes come on the opposite side of the court? You know you're going to lose because they got Michael's secret sauce.
That's true. They do have Michael's secret sauce. There is one issue with the basketball plan, which is that obviously you only play half of your games at home when you're on a basketball team. The rest of them you have to travel to. You can't really do that. But I still think that even if you can only play in half the games, you're still by far the most valuable basketball player in the league. Because you basically guarantee victory in half of the games your team plays. So, under that assumption, you should be able to, once you're 9 feet tall, you should be able to get the maximum salary that is available to you under the rules of the NBA every year. So that first year, when you're 29 and you are Actually, my numbers, I started when you were 30 and you were 10 feet tall. You start getting a max salary. That's about $30 million with a couple of assumptions. So I figured you'd probably play until you're about 35 or so and 15 feet tall. I think that's probably the point where, even at that point, you're just too tall to, play basketball. The hoop is far enough down that, it's actually hard for you to dunk it. It just starts getting a little bit too much. So I think that's probably your last year. If you get the max...
You're going to be the kid on the playground where, everyone's, where you're just, too good at basketball because you're, 4 years older and, no one wants to play with you anymore because every time you play, you just,
No, basically, literally what you are is you are LeBron James and you went to a group of 6-year-olds playing on one of those, 6 feet tall hoops and just steal their ball and just keep dunking on top of them over and over
Do you think the NBA would change the rules at all to, accommodate for you?
I don't know.
It's going to be delayed because you are going to be... Again, a media sensation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and so that's where... So, just on your contracts, if you play from when you are, 29 until 35, you're going to make about $225 million just from your NBA contracts. On top of that, you are definitely going to get endorsements. Shoe deals alone for big players are $5 million a year to $32 million a year. The $32 million is LeBron James, so that might be kind of tough to get, but, Steph Curry gets $12 million, that might be possible, so you'll be pulling in, $40 to $50 million a year for 6 or 7 years. So you would have plenty of money at this point to spend the $6,000 it would cost to make you a pair of pants or whatever at that point. So I feel like for getting to the point where you can actually sustain yourself once you are a full-on giant, I feel like this is the best plan.
Also, I'm just going back to the pants. I imagine your tailor has to be the most patient and the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
Because... This guy has just made you a 13-foot tall pair of jeans.
How long does it take to make that?
Hopefully not too long, because 2 months later you're gonna be like, oh, it's a little short at the ankles, and he's gonna have to make another one. It's not about making one pair.
I feel like you actually can't wear pants anymore. You have to wear shorts just for economy, always.
But they're gonna get short and short and short.
Well, no, I mean you will lengthen them, yeah, but going to a full pair of pants is the equivalent of 8,000 normal pairs of pants.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
So I think playing basketball is a remarkably effective way to set yourself up for the rest of your life. Which, after that point, man, I don't know. Good luck with that. You guys have some good plans. Sounds terrible.
Basketball rules question. Do you get any bonus points from shooting it from your own 3-point line?
Not yet, but maybe.
Because if you're 15 feet tall, kind of proportionally, it's getting closer to beer pong.
Right.
Where you can just be on the other end of the table and just swish it in. So if you can get a 4-point shot that way, that might be a good way to do it.
One kind of hilarious thing that I thought of that I don't really know the answer to is when players come out of the game in basketball, they go and sit, on folding chairs over on the sideline. You can't do that. So I don't know if you have to go lie down in the tunnel that people come out of, or what you do in that situation, because
you wouldn't be able to how would you get into the stadium?
You'd crawl. You'd have to crawl. That's where I feel 15 feet is kind of the max you can get to here.
What you'd have to do is you'd have to buy out the box seating,
yeah.
Up to row 8, and you just kind of sit on rows 4 to 8 with your butt and have your feet on the
that
floor.
works. There you go.
All right, I think we've come to a consensus here is that this is definitely doable.
It's doable.
Sucks.
Not good.
I think Ben had the best early plan.
Yeah, 30 million is way more than the Guinness Book of World Records has.
You're not gonna lie. When you guys were telling that, I was rubbing my hands. I was I got this one. I got the money on this one.
I win the question. All right, so with that, before we go into our next question, it's time for a word from our sponsors. Hey, do we have stuff from our sponsors? What do you mean we don't have any sponsors? Shit, alright, we'll just make something up then.
Feeling dissatisfied with your everyday microwave cups of noodles? Need a mostly legitimate source of more protein in your diet? Try a new mug of beef. Grasp it with its convenient handle. Marvel at the incredible meat-adjacent texture. Mug of beef, just add water.
Coming soon to a store near you, it's the best new alarm clock innovation, the Wake Up Waffle! Why drag yourself out of bed to make breakfast when breakfast can come to you? Simply load up the Wake Up Waffle toaster with up to 4 delicious waffle, set the launch angle and alarm time, and wham! A perfectly toasted waffle to the face to get your day started right. Don't want just plain old waffles? Try our syrup shot attachable accessory and load it up with our favorite flavors. Choose between classics such as Missile Maple, Ballistic Blueberry, and Chocked Full of Chocolate. Remember, the best part of waking up is waffles that are shot. Not suitable for children under 4 years old, not compatible with pancakes, waffles not guaranteed for freshness or ballistic accuracy.
Today's show is brought to you by Wumbo Butler. Need help around the house? Don't want to deal with the frustrating problems that come with the normal butler? Get Wumbo Butler. Enjoy your very own slightly taller than average butler. Optimal wingspan. Abnormal reach. The possibilities are endless. Wumbo Butler. Life is short, but your butler doesn't have to be.
And another thank you to our real and totally not hypothetical sponsors. I'm going to dive right ahead into question 2 here. What if you had the ability to perfectly train whales?
That's an interesting question.
All types of whales. Ben, I'm going to let you start off on this one. What do you got?
All right, so when I started thinking about this, the first thing I thought of was shipping. I don't know why that was the first thing I thought of, because it doesn't actually make any sense. It's not better than a boat. Like, a boat's just going to be better than a whale at moving things. Like, let's just be honest here.
It's cooler, though.
It's much cooler, and I just thinking about the particular capabilities of whales, I realized that there might be some applications. So, specifically the sperm whale. No laughing. The sperm whale. What did I say?
He's only laughing because he said no laughing.
I know, that's why it's so good.
That really got me.
So, the sperm whale can dive to like 10,000 feet below the surface. They use echolocation. Their habitat is basically everywhere in the oceans. So, like, they can pretty much go anywhere. They're very smart. Their brains are 5 times the size of a human brain.
Does that make them smarter?
I say it does, personally, as a fan of whales. They can be submerged for 90 minutes. They are a surprisingly stealthy beast, considering that they're like 60 feet long or whatever. And I was like, I had these thoughts talking about whales. I'm like, whales are stealthy. It'd be cool if you could move things with whales. Well, it'd be cool if you could move it stealthily. Oh no, I just thought about smuggling. So where I went was, what I realized is that if you were to go get a place in like San Francisco, you can get like a 17-foot boat. Apparently, you can take a 17-foot boat about 50 or 60 miles out into the ocean pretty safely. You just go out, go in for your fishing trip or whatever. That's kind of what you do. You just get out there and you set up around yourself a ring of whales that are your lookouts. So you have these whales that are using their, the sperm whales do these like clicks and stuff to sort of like communicate with each other. And they're doing that to say, okay, coast is clear. And then coming up from Mexico is a whale. This part I'm a little hazy on. You need some kind of harness for the whale to allow it to haul things, but you can figure that out.
Yeah, it's just a couple straps.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
A big net.
And
get one of those fishing nets that's clogging up our ocean.
Right, just you can make it work. And that whale has brought you from Mexico heroin. Once the coast is clear, whale comes up, you get the heroin. It doesn't have to be that much. What I'm figuring is you're going to get like about a duffel bag's worth of heroin. So I did a little research, not like that.
Are you going to show up on some lists?
That I am definitely, after this week, I am 100% on a watch list. But I found a story about people, they found a duffel bag full of heroin that had about 40 pounds of heroin in it. So heroin sells for $150 to $200 a gram. So that 40 pounds is about 18 kilograms. So at $150, that's about $2.7 million of heroin.
Damn.
So I figure you're obviously not getting all that money because you're buying the heroin from Mexico and you're not going to sell it yourself because that's just stupid, guys.
And you got to pay the whales. Don't forget the whale wages.
Exactly.
Whale
you got to
wage.
pay the whales. We are pro living whale wage on this podcast. But I figure if you're taking 10%, That's $270,000 to basically just got your trained whales, go out in the ocean for an afternoon, bring back a duffel bag, give it to some shady guy in a van. You know.
Also, like, very low competition. Like, you got that corner market. It's
right.
Nobody's doing what you're doing.
Exactly. And your life is basically, you live in San Francisco, you go out on a boat all day. It's great. You do that. You can even do that once a week. You're living great. Come on, this is fine. This is all good.
Double down, whale watching tour.
Boom. That's dangerous.
That is dangerous.
That seems...
Does that whale I'm watching have a bunch of heroin? Nah, it's nothing.
I mean, you could work that into, like, your laundering scheme. You gotta launder your money, right?
That's true. You gotta launder the money. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. So one day a week, you go on your quote-unquote fishing trips and come back with your duffel bag full of heroin. And the other 6 days, you're on whale watching tours, where conveniently you always have whales.
Yeah.
You know, I'm wondering now, because I went on a whale watching tour when I took a trip to Alaska.
Was there heroin there?
Well, here's what I'm thinking, because I went there and they said it was a quote-unquote guaranteed whale watching tour. So basically, the humpback whales, they migrate through, like, this pass every year. So we saw, like, 13 fucking whales. Like, the whales are just everywhere. And so the whale watching guarantee was, if you don't see a whale, they hand you a $100 bill as you leave the boat. And I'm just, in my head now, I realize I didn't think much about them, but they had, like, in the front, scrap paper pin with, like, a bunch of $100 bills, like, stacked, like, just, like, poked through on there. And that's really suspicious all of a sudden.
Must have had some smuggling going on.
That makes sense. So that's my plan. I don't know. I mean, personally, of course, I do not advocate the use or sale of drugs, but theoretically, hypothetically, if you will, if you can control whales, you could have a pretty profitable drug smuggling operation with them.
I mean, it really sounds like you're not the first person to do it.
That whale watching tour sounds suspicious.
Yeah.
And I guess you have to do it in Alaska is where the real money's at.
I don't want to go fishing in Alaska, dude. That doesn't sound fun. So yeah, that's it for me.
I went in a bit of a different direction.
It's not surprising.
Not surprisingly. My thing was, like, you got all these whales. The problem with whales is that they're big, they're inconvenient, and they're in the ocean. So you can't really use them for a lot of people things. And then I was thinking, what city is the most ocean-like? And I think Venice.
I like where this is going.
You guys roleplay here as the mayor of Venice. I come up to you, and I'm like, you guys got a pretty cool tourist destination, but everyone's heard of Venice. Like, people come here to see it, but, like, they come once. And you got all these gondolas going back and forth. What if you replace all the gondolas with whales that people ride on?
New tagline for Venice. Venice, you'll have a whale at a time.
And you don't even need anything better than that, because it won't fucking matter.
And of course you would pay the whales, because pro whale wage.
Whale wages.
Of course, whale wage. You guys, like, this is perfect. Just all the gondolas are now just in the way. So no more boats, all whales in Venice. As the mayor, do you agree?
I think it actually doesn't matter, because a whale can beat a gondola.
Right, like, your gondolas are gonna get destroyed anyway.
You make an offer, of course, but it's not really their, like, this is kind of the same way that, like, in The Godfather, offers are made.
Yeah, a phase-out policy.
Yeah, you let them leave with their dignity.
How are the whales gonna fit?
So there are smaller whales. There's, like, some species of whales, I forget the name off the top of my head, but they're, like, maybe, like, 9 feet to 12 feet long. And there's sizes in between. So you have definitely some transport whales.
Because, yeah, the waterways in Venice get pretty small.
There's a big one in the middle where you can put basically any whale.
And they have, like, little arch bridges that go over them. They have to fit under that. I guess they can go underwater.
Think of a whale system where you pass off between, you know, like, your, like, 15-foot whales down to, like, orcas, you know, or something.
Also, I like the idea of, like, whale police.
Whale police is a wonderful conversation of words.
So, this is a pretty easy sell, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Twist. It's time for more whale crimes. This was the setup.
Ooh.
Is this just the Italian Job meets Free Willy? Is this basically what you're doing here?
This is basically what I'm doing. So, I was thinking what crimes I can do with whales. And I was thinking, like, small ball stuff originally. Like, you have a whale, you train him to go on the beach. You, like, have the beach whale, all the people get distracted. Go check out the whale. And you go on the beach and steal all their shit. All small time stuff. No, we're going big. We are gonna steal the Guggenheim in Venice. It's not the biggest Guggenheim. There's a Guggenheim with all their fancy artwork. It's based in a small building that was originally somebody's house. The building's about 40 feet by 100 feet. The other thing is, Venice is built on, like, they got, like, their sidewalks, but it's really just wooden piles underneath. So basically, once you've replaced all the boats, and including the police boats, with whales, you have a few whales sneakily getting rid of the silt layer on the floor with their tails, exposing the wooden timbers, and then one night, You tie some ropes around, you have the whales break those timbers, and you take the Guggenheim Museum physically out of the sidewalk.
It's the perfect crime. And what's great is that they can't even fight against it, because if you criminalize whales, only criminals will have whales.
It's not the perfect crime yet, Ben.
Oh god, it gets better?
The first problem that I ran into was, are the whales going to be able to do this?
You mean like physically?
Physically, like, is this going to happen? So I had to do some math. I did the math on this one too, guys. The average weight of a building, based on my Googling, is 375 pounds a square foot. Given the area of the Guggenheim Museum, 40 by 100, it's going to be 1.5 million pounds. So, first question, does it float? Answer, yes.
Check mark?
Check mark. Perfectly. Assuming it doesn't fill with water, you might have to do like a little bit of a prep job where like you seal up some areas, but it's actually buoyant at about 6 feet. So it's only naturally going to sit 6 feet in the water.
That's not bad. That's workable.
Second problem. Can the whales pull it through the water? It's pretty big. The average either blue whale or killer whale, you can have your choice. I think the killer whales are a bit more thematic, can produce about 60 kilonewtons of force. Given your drag area of 240 square feet and your coefficient of friction of a long rectangle, you're gonna need some whales to do it. And here's where I ran into a problem. With 3 whales pulling, your top speed maxes out at 1.2 miles per hour. Not great.
That's pretty slow.
Yeah, it's a gentle walk.
And you have some time, like it's dead of night, no one's expecting this.
I think Venice has a pretty like early curfew too.
Right. And you're going to be able to do some street blockades with your whales. But you can do better on the speed. So what I did is you send out some diving whales. You get an old ship hull, and you put the Guggenheim into that ship hull. Now your coefficient of friction drops from 0.82, which is your multiplier,
oh god,
down to 0.804 for a streamlined surface. Now, with 3 whales, you got 5.5 miles an hour of pulling power here. So this is a reasonable getaway speed. So there is a problem with Venice in that it is very far from the ocean proper. But here's what I'm thinking. It's going to take you a while to get onto the ocean, like days. But what are they going to do?
Oh no, the whales are going away slowly.
They can't stop it.
They're not really going to know that you're behind it, right? They're just going to think the whales are kind of doing it on their own.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone knows that whales are purveyors of fine art.
And this is where I think there might be problems. So imagine you are Sir Naval Officer of the Italian Navy. No research done there. And you have your battleship, and you've now caught up to the museum. What do you do?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, because you can't hurt the whales because then like PETA will be all over you.
Yeah, and you
like animal rights.
Also, you got more whales.
That's true. There's a lot of whales.
Like if you do anything to the whales at all, animal rights activists are going to be all over you.
Yeah, that's just like an incident at that point, and you don't want to be on that side of PETA.
Yeah, you can't have this bad publicity because you're also Venice. You're a tourist destination. No one wants to visit the place of whales that killed the whales. Like you're gonna get SeaWorld reputation.
Whales are your brand. You're right.
They could turn that into its own tourist site.
The whale, like
see our wonderful whale graveyard.
Everything the light touches is Venice. What about that dark area? That's the whale graveyard. We don't go there.
I'd have to say, by the way, going back to police whales, clearly the police whales are orcas, right? Because of the color scheme?
Orcas seem to be the perfect whale for just about everything. They can be the criminals, they can be the cops, they can be, like, your smuggling operation. Like, they're just all the sorts of good.
How much of a cut are the whales going to get from this haul?
See, that's the interesting bit, because you're definitely going to have to give them a little something on the side.
Because they got to get paid.
But you're also all these whales' boss on their, like, steady jobs.
I mean, do we still have the steady jobs? Because the whales just stole the Guggenheim. Are they still going to use you for transport?
I'm sorry, Ben, can you tell the difference between different blue whales? Shit, no, you can identify them. I know at least humpback whales have unique patterns on the back of their tails.
Their whale tail?
Their whale tail.
But the thing is, you don't have to train all of your whales to do this. You can just do some, and then you can have some of your whales just do the normal stuff, and you'd be like, I don't know what that was just a fluke.
Wait a minute, do you want to fluke as dolphins? That was a dumb joke.
Fluke is a fish, Ben.
Are these whales, so your whales who do the heist, do the other whales know about the heist?
The other whales are going to know about the heist.
Do they have plausible deniability?
The other whales are going to know about the heist. They're going to provide immediate support, like roadblocks. Like if a whale just sideways in the canal, you're not getting past it. Also, you don't have a boat because it's all whales anyway. So it's really to get you out of the enclosed area. I haven't quite decided what you're going to do with the people on the boat, because even at night, there's going to be a couple security guards. I think once you have them out to sea and you have some threatening killer whales on staff, that's kind of a you're not going to have too much of a problem. Here's where I'm going to put the period on the perfect crime. You have this Guggenheim Museum, and you bring it into international waters. To this point, you have not stolen anything out of the Guggenheim. The worst crime you've committed is maybe a zoning violation.
It's probably technically vandalism.
Yeah, but, like, you're just gonna pay the fine. Like, you got all this sweet, sweet art money. And based on my research of what international laws on international waters are, there's basically fucking none.
What if you, instead of selling the art, because I feel like it's still going to be kind of hard to fence and everything, what if you just, suddenly the Guggenheim is a floating museum that you control?
I mean, yeah, I feel like you make less money that way. Because how many fucking people do you have to drag out into the Atlantic Ocean before you make, like, the $20 million you're going to sell this Da Vinci painting for? Plus, if you just take them out of the museum and it's not a crime, you can sell them legally. Perfect crime. You didn't even commit one.
And then, of course, with every heist movie, there has to be like a plot twist, right? Were the whale police in on it the whole time?
See, I always think the perfect crime doesn't have a twist. That's what makes it perfect.
It's so perfect, there's no twist.
The plot twist might be like like an up and come in security guard who's like there, like maybe he had like a bad reputation from somewhere else, but he's like really good at his job, and like he causes you some problems, and maybe he like escapes with like one of the most critical painting he escapes with, and you don't get to sell that one. But I don't think he's gonna ruin your whole plan.
What if one of the security guards is actually a whale the whole time and somehow no one noticed?
Oh fuck!
Yeah, I like that. He just pulls off his mask.
And suddenly someone realizes that he's, 1,200 pounds and
on the floor.
and on the floor, and
It's like, I thought he got a haircut.
man, Frank, you really drink a lot of water, don't you?
Oh, he's just like that.
Okay, so is that your answer?
That's it.
Okay, well, I think I went in a very, very different direction than both of you.
Once again, I'm still not
I
surprised.
didn't expect both of us to go to whale crimes.
I was surprised that both of you went the criminal route, but I figured that whales don't really have much use for you. Like, they're all water stuff, and I'm on the land. I don't really want to, like, live in the ocean or anything like that. So I figured I would put together a music group with whales.
Oh my.
Whales have lots of different types of noises they make. So I would probably set up like a tour going along the shore, just because you need to be close to the ocean.
The shore tour.
Yeah, the shore tour.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to get to those middle states like Kansas or something. It's gonna be tough to get out there.
Yeah, I would kind of just ignore that.
Most of us do. It's fine.
And I would call this the orchestra.
Ah!
Wow.
Wonderful. I like that name.
That's very good.
So I have a few audio clips actually I'm going to play for you.
Okay.
So this first one is just like the normal whale call that like you think of when you think of whales. So, yeah, I think that one would be, like, good for...
It's like your ballad.
Yeah, just like the normal melody, harmony stuff. It has, like, a melodic thing to it. Like, you could train them to tune it to certain notes. But then there are other noises that whales make that you wouldn't really expect. This is a beluga whale. So that was, like, a buzzing noise.
Like a clickety-clackety.
Clickety, yeah, sort of a click-clack thing. I think that would be, like... percussion-y,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
or like a kazoo, maybe, I don't know.
Are we gonna slowly end up at the SpongeBob episode where it's all the sea creatures making the disco
Where they're all
song?
following
Yeah.
around him. La, 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 la.
I actually saw in my my sperm whale research that sperm whales apparently sometimes sing duets together.
What?
So you got that too.
Yeah, so they're already like half trained.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do it on their own.
That's too adorable. My idea's out the window. I'm now a whale matchmaker. I'm gonna do the whale version of Match.com.
Fun thing I didn't say when I mentioned that. Male whales do duets together.
All right, I'll be the whale version of what's it called?
Of Grindr?
Grindr, yeah.
Okay, so this next one it's a whale splashing its tail in the water. So I figured that is useful for like bass drums and stuff,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah, that works. That works really
Are
well.
you gonna participate as someone with a real instrument
I'm gonna be a conductor of sorts.
of sorts?
The fact that you said of sorts makes me very happy.
What I think that means is that he's not going to bother to learn how to conduct, and he's just going to fucking wing it and wave his arms around and train the whales to ignore it.
Alright guys, remember, don't pay attention to me.
How long do you think it would take you as a layman to notice that a conductor was just fucking bullshitting it?
All you have to do is wave your arms in the beat. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, let's just minimize what they do and the skill that it takes to do it.
So you heard the buzzing noise, but they can like isolate it to single clicks. So this is a whale kind of imitating a predator from the movie Predator.
That is terrifying.
So when you say imitating them, does that mean like they heard it and tried to do it, or they just happened to sound like it?
That's just something they do. So that's like a pretty creepy noise.
Yeah,
right?
no, that's a creepy
Oh,
noise.
yeah.
I was kind of worried that we could teach them that noise and that they were learning it slowly as the species.
that whales in general are just big Arnold Schwarzenegger fans.
Word would spread fast because when I was doing my whale research, something came upon I came upon something that I thought was crazy. It was how far the humpback whale's song travels.
How far was that?
Their lowest frequency song can travel 10,000 miles.
So maybe I can reach the middle of the country.
Let me put it into perspective. The Pacific Ocean from California to Japan, China, whatever, is 9,800 miles wide.
So basically, whale song is just like in when there were first phones and everyone had party lines and everyone was like yelling at each other trying to get a hold of their like family members.
Yeah.
That's just whale song. It's just like, Frank! Frank! Shut up! Frank! I need to talk to Frank!
It's like, dude, I'm in the fucking Arctic. Leave me alone. But I think these are the lower frequencies, and I think these are the I want to fuck frequency. I'm here and I'm down to fuck frequency. So it's I guess I don't have to do the whale grinder because it already exists and it's ocean wide all the time. And now every time I swim in the ocean, I know I'm in like whale sexts.
You're just surrounded by the whale version of you up.
You up?
Or I guess you down.
Yeah, you down.
Okay, so I had a few more sounds. I'm not going to play all of them, but I did put together a sample song.
Oh, no.
I'm so down for this.
And I want to preface this by saying that I do not have the ability to perfectly train whales. It was kind of difficult to make it sound like a song, but here we go. Yeah, so that's my whale song.
That was beautiful.
And that is what I would do if I could perfectly train whales.
Well, at least he's contributing to society. Contributing to the arts.
It's good to have some contributions to arts instead of theft of arts.
I mean, I had some eco-friendly ideas. You could train whales to pick up plastic and shit, clean up the ocean, but it seems like a waste we could just steal a Guggenheim or make the orchestra.
Or just, smuggle heroin.
I did look up the name orchestra, and it is a thing. You know how they have duck calls to lure in ducks? Mm-hmm. They have a whale call to scare seals.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
And they called it the orchestra, so I'd probably have to buy the rights to that name from that guy.
I mean, how big a company could they possibly be?
I think it's just one guy.
Yeah, so I think you might be able to just, hook up with some whale crimes. Then you don't have to pay him anything.
We could team up.
I just gotta point out that somehow we did 2 crime-related things, and I did not at once make an Ocean's 11 reference, which was a huge mistake.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe we should just edit that in a few times, just every once in a while, whenever there's a small pause, just
Ocean's 11.
Edit in Ben saying Ocean's 11. Yeah.
Ocean's 11.
Just subliminally.
Ocean's 11.
Ocean's 11.
Like when you compared it to that other couple of movies, you could just say Ocean's 11
In my
instead.
defense, the Italian Job actually took place in Venice, the start of it.
Yeah. So that wraps it up for our questions for this week. What are we looking at next week? Quick little preview here. Question number 1. What if water flowed up instead of down? And what if you were always off by a factor of 10? Tune in next week to find out. If you have any questions, comments, or your own hypothetical idea you want us to answer, let us know. You can reach us by email at absurdhypotheticals@gmail.com. Send us a tweet at absurdhype. That's HYPE hype. Visit our website, www.nerdchomp.com/absurdhypotheticals. And if you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. It really helps out the show and lets us keep making it for you.